This console is basically responsible for wiping out Sega as a first party developer. That's the Sega Saturn, and it's not entirely true. The actual story is more interesting. You have these two business entities, Sega of Japan and Sega of America. This is not uncommon for foreign developers. Nintendo has been doing this for years, but Sega of Japan and Sega of America, well, they didn't like each other. And they didn't get along, and they didn't respect each other's ideas. And the consequence of this is that Sega passed up on tons of opportunities to make better consoles. The technology that went into the N64 that made it so great, well, Sega could have had it first, but Sega of Japan didn't want to go with Sega of America's plan to make a 3D console, and instead they wanted to do the Sega Saturn. Sega was reached out to by Sony after being scorned by Nintendo, and Sega of Japan, once again, said, no, we're not interested in it. There's a lot of other markers that can sort of show this divide between Sega of America and Sega of Japan, but another big problem with the Sega Saturn that comes around about the time of release is that no one was developing for the console. And the reason for this is because Sega of Japan was very focused on pumping out new consoles. The average lifespan of a Sega console was 3 years. That we should be at like the PlayStation 9 if we go by Sega's rules. And I don't think people would be too happy if their newly bought PlayStation 5s were useless within 3 years. And consumers purchased accordingly.